The Ukraine conflict in 2021 was a significant geopolitical event that captured the world's attention. The ongoing war between Ukrainian forces and Russian-backed separatists in the Donbas region led to numerous casualties, displaced civilians, and strained international relations. Day 43 and Day 44 were crucial moments during this conflict, marking notable developments on the battlefield and in diplomatic efforts. This article provides a comprehensive analysis of these two critical days, shedding light on the events, implications, and attempts at resolving the crisis. Day 43, August 12, 2021. On Day 43, the conflict escalated when pro-Russian forces initiated a series of intense artillery shelling and attacks on Ukrainian military positions in Donbas. This offensive resulted in multiple casualties among Ukrainian soldiers and raised concerns about Russia's escalating involvement in the region. The incident also saw allegations of Russian forces shelling civilian areas, leading to international outrage and calls for immediate action. Human rights organizations condemned the attack, emphasizing the need for accountability and protection for civilians caught in the crossfire. Meanwhile, in the diplomatic arena, tensions between Russia and Ukraine reached a tipping point. The two countries' envoys engaged in a heated exchange at the United Nations Security Council, with each side accusing the other of aggression and violating international law. The Security Council convened an emergency session to address the mounting crisis and call for a cessation of hostilities. On Day 43, global leaders and international organizations united in demanding a peaceful resolution to the conflict. The European Union, the United States, and NATO expressed their unequivocal support for Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity, warning Russia against further escalations and reaffirming their commitment to economic sanctions against Moscow. Day 44, August 13, 2021. Day 44 witnessed a continuation of hostilities, with both sides engaging in fierce clashes. Reports emerged of significant troop movements near the border, raising concerns about the potential for a large-scale invasion. In response to mounting international pressure, Russian President Vladimir Putin made a statement accusing Ukraine of provoking the conflict and using the situation as a pretext to restrict the rights of Russian-speaking minorities in Ukraine. Putin defended Russia's actions as necessary to protect these communities and prevent further bloodshed. Despite these statements, diplomatic efforts persisted. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky made an emotional appeal to the international community, urging for increased support in countering Russian aggression. Zelensky called for additional sanctions against Russia, emphasizing the importance of holding the aggressor accountable and preventing further loss of life. The situation on the ground remained highly volatile, with humanitarian organizations reporting an increasing number of displaced civilians seeking refuge in safer areas. The humanitarian crisis continued to escalate, with shortages of food, water, and medical supplies exacerbating the plight of those caught in the conflict zone. International response and mediation efforts. The Ukraine conflict in 2021 drew widespread condemnation from the international community, with many nations and organizations actively engaged in mediation efforts to de-escalate the situation and reach a peaceful resolution. The United Nations played a crucial role in facilitating dialogue between the involved parties. The UN Secretary-General urged both Russia and Ukraine to exercise restraint and engage in constructive talks to find a path towards de-escalation. The UN also dispatched humanitarian aid to assist civilians affected by the conflict, attempting to alleviate the suffering caused by the war. The European Union and the United States took a firm stance against Russia's actions, imposing economic sanctions targeting key sectors of the Russian economy. These sanctions aimed to exert pressure on Moscow to halt its military operations and engage in meaningful negotiations. International mediation efforts faced challenges due to the complex geopolitical dynamics involved in the conflict. Russia's relations with several other major powers further complicated the situation, as some countries were reluctant to take harsh measures against Moscow. Conclusion. The events of Day 43 and Day 44 during the Ukraine conflict in 2021 underscored the gravity of the ongoing war and its far-reaching implications. The conflict resulted in significant loss of life, displaced civilians, and strained international relations. Diplomatic efforts to find a peaceful resolution were met with various challenges, including geopolitical complexities and a lack of consensus among global powers. As the conflict continued, it became evident that a sustainable resolution would require international unity and unwavering support for Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity. The humanitarian toll of the war called for immediate action to protect civilians and provide essential aid to those affected. In the aftermath of Day 44, the international community faced a critical juncture in its response to the Ukraine conflict. Decisions made in the coming days and weeks would shape the trajectory of the crisis and determine the fate of those embroiled in the conflict. It was essential for the global community to stand together, address the root causes of the conflict, and work towards lasting peace and stability in the region.